Welcome to a deeper dive of the FP calculator. This calculator was created to help you complete the exercises at the end of chapters 3 through 6 in the book Financial Purpose. We're going to go ahead and jump right into the calculator. You can see as we open up the calculator, the first thing it is going to ask you is about your income, both your gross monthly income and your net monthly income. Gross is before all the things that are taken out, and then your net is your actual take-home pay. You can put that in on day one if you have it. But by the end of chapter 6, you'll need to make sure you have it in the system so we can help you bring balance to your framework. The advantage of doing it on day one is that as your paycheck is listed here, your monthly expenses as you build out the framework will be populated so you can see what kind of balance you have in your framework. But again, by the end of chapter 6, we'll go through the exercise of how to bring balance to this. You can see that, again, chapters 3 through 6 are here: spend, save, debt, and give. And it's intended to do sequentially. So you have to start with chapter 3 by hitting begin. And once you've completed that and saved it, it then opens up the door for chapters 4, save, and then chapter 5, and then chapter 6. I've gone ahead and created a case study for you as a way to show you more quickly how the calculator works. You can see here that I've gone ahead and added the monthly income. I just made up numbers, 10,000 gross for household income, as well as net monthly income. By clicking this button, you can add or change it at any time. You can see that as you save the last chapter, some things change on this page. Starting at the top of the page, there's a summary of the major categories of where you spend money, including monthly income, non-monthly income, savings, and spending, as well as there's a roadmap here that takes your paycheck and gives you the information you need to do a split deposit at work through your payroll system, as well as your auto transfer into your savings. We've also created a button here to download this roadmap into a downloadable or printable roadmap for you. This is very helpful if you're working as a couple to talk through your priorities and the roadmap, as well as maybe it's something you want to have visually or take to work with you so you can set up your payroll system. So how did we get here? Well, it has to do with the work we did in each of these portions of the calculator. I'm going to jump into spending real quick and share with you kind of the functionality of the calculator. So when you first come into the calculator, there will be no categories, there'll be no data. You simply have to click the buttons to create categories for all of your monthly commitments, non-monthly commitments, and spending. By clicking a button, you simply put in a description, the dollar amount, and then it's important to use the drop down to say, is this debt? Is this a need or is this a want? Particularly if it's debt, make sure you get that right because that shows up in chapter 5. We've also added the functionality that you can sort these in any way you want simply by using these arrow keys. You can move things up and down on the system and sort them however you want. A lot of people will put debt at the top, then they'll put their needs and their wants at the bottom. Also, it's important to note that these grayed out areas for giving and savings are not things that you're going to input in chapter 3. Those will come later in chapters 4 and 6, and they will populate once you've completed those exercises. Non-monthly commitments, the only thing that's real different there is that we have given you frequency. So sometimes you pay things quarterly, sometimes you pay them semi-annual or annual. Just make sure you put the actual dollar amount and the frequency, and then it will calculate how much you should set aside each month to meet those obligations. And then finally, on the spending side, you can be as detailed or not as you want. Some people want a monthly allowance and not track all the details. Others want more information. And they'd like to set up categories and track that information, and to each his own. So in order to do that, again, create as many categories as you want. It's virtually unlimited. Put in the description, the dollar amount, and again, whether it's a want or need. And that pretty much completes the spending side. I will show you one little tip. We had a number of people who have gone through Financial Purpose that have questions or concerns about non-monthly commitments. Do I really need a separate checking account if I only have one or two of these? And so we've created this button called Create as a Savings Goal. I'm not going to go through that in this tutorial, but if you click this little button here, there actually is a separate tutorial that will walk you through the advantage of using that feature. So then if I were to jump into the savings and give you a quick view of the savings, again, functionality is the same. Click a button data category. You can sort up or down. These are the savings goals that you've identified. Put a description in there, how much you want to set aside each month, what the total goal is, and then this is an important function to tell us whether it's a one-time goal or it's reoccurring. So what's the difference? Well, maybe college, you want to save $40,000 for your kids' college. So it's a one-time goal. Once you get to 40,000, you'll probably stop funding it. Down payment a house might be something similar to that. Other types of goals are more reoccurring. So vacation, maybe you've set up the goal to have $3,000 available each year for vacation. So it's a reoccurring goal. So the money will go up, it will be spent down, but it'll continue to build over time. And you'll see when we get into the FP Goal Tracker, how you categorize it will help sort it on that side. So take a little time to get that set up right. On the debt side, we just jump into debt. As you enter the debt portion of the calculator, these will be pre-populated if you've set them up right in your monthly commitments. So on the monthly commitments, we identified our mortgage and our auto payment. We put the monthly payment amount and we listed it as debt, so it pre-populated here. We've added the ability to add a couple cells, including balance and interest rate. This is really important as you want to have one place that you can look at all of your debt, especially if you have a goal of getting debt free. Having a one snapshot of all your debt to figure out how you might want to use snowballing or some other method to accelerate debt repayment is just visually good to have it on one page. Secondly, we calculate the debt to income ratio. I'm not going to go through that in this tutorial. You'll learn more about that in chapter 5. It's a really, really important number. And we do the calculation for you here. And the goal is to get that below 30% or lower. And then finally, on the giving side, this is probably the simplest one to fill out. Again, add and sort there, but basically put who you're giving to and the dollar amount, and that pretty much completes your giving exercise. The last thing that you'll need to do is to, in the final exercise after chapter 6, is you'll need to bring balance to your framework. And this will probably be the most challenging part of the calculator and the work that you do, frankly. If your monthly net income exceeds your monthly expenses, you'll have extra money here that you can use to fund maybe savings goals or debt goals, or you want to be more generous. But most people who attend our course, it's probably the opposite. Your monthly income is less than your monthly expenses. In other words, this is negative. And so you have to go through the process of bringing balance to your framework, which means you're going to need to go into all of your categories and make some decisions about where you're going to adjust to bring balance to your framework. Maybe you look at your want categories in your spend and say, hey, where are the areas we're going to have to cut back our spending in order to bring balance? Maybe there's some savings goals that you can't fund at this point in time, and you're going to put those on hold. I would suggest keep the goal out there, but to put your monthly commitment amount to 0, so that way it'll still stay on your radar screen. You just won't be committing monthly income to it. And maybe it's restructuring your debt, and of course generosity is a piece of the puzzle as well. But the goal is to go through an exercise and go through the hard work to figure out how to bring this to balance. And that way, you know that you have a framework that honors your commitments, that you can meet all your monthly commitments, including commitments to God, commitments to yourself, and commitments to other, and you only spend what you have left over. And with that balance will become the contentment and peace of mind that we all hope for in our finances. So with that, that completes our tutorial on the financial FP calculator. I hope this was helpful for you. And we'll see you in the next video.